ich hoffe, ihr hört uns. Wir grüßen euch hier von der E3 aus Los Angeles. Wir sehen uns das erste Mal, jetzt aber nicht das letzte Mal. Und wir starten gleich mit einem richtig coolen Thema. Eins meiner Leib- und Magenthemen, nämlich Civilization. Und wir haben nachher noch viel Zeit, über die E3 zu sprechen und alles, was hier abgeht. Aber ihr seht schon, links neben mir haben wir einen Gast und den möchte ich ungern warten lassen. Und zwar ist das Ed Beach, Lead Designer von Firaxis. Und ich werde jetzt ein bisschen Englisch reden. Ich hoffe, ihr versteht uns. Thank you very much, Ed, for being here with us.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, you
It's
brought
exciting.
Civilization VI with you.
Yes.
You're the lead designer at Firaxis. So you live in Baltimore, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Go ahead and ask whatever you want.
I think before we ask all those questions, you brought something with you.
Yep.
It's a video.
Right. Let's go ahead and start taking a look. It's sort of a quick walkthrough of what Civilization VI looks like. So it's about a 10-minute video, but you'll get to see at the very beginning of the game all the way through. We'll see sort of what the end game situation looks like as well. So you get a real good taste of everything from it.
Before you came in here, you told me it's somehow world exclusive. What about that?
Yeah, that's it's being shown in our theater here right now. So there's some people seeing it for the first time, but this is the first time it's been broadcast anywhere. 2K will eventually have it out on the internet posted, but I don't think that's for a couple more weeks. So you guys are getting the first look at it.
All right, that's very exciting. World exclusive Civilization VI video about to start. I just click the start button and you tell me what we're seeing. All right?
Okay, absolutely.
Thanks.
Okay, so in the video starts
with the old
some
intro.
Yes,
I remember
we start
that.
all the way, and now you'll start seeing a montage of images from all the previous Civilization games.
Which one is that? Is that Civ 2? No, that's one.
And then we're getting some Civ 3 and 4. This is the Civ 5 intro. That's from Civ 4.
All right, so it's mixed up.
And that's Brave New World right here. So yeah, it's really just a smattering of different images from all the different games that we've had before.
Since when are you at Firaxis Games?
I've been at Firaxis for almost 8 years now. In that time period, we've just been working on Civilization 5 and 6. But I came onto the Civilization 5 team very early in the process. I was actually the AI and gameplay software engineering lead to begin with. And then when we got to expansions with Gods and Kings and Brave New World, I took over as the lead designer. And we've had a very similar team that the team that finished up Civ 5 with Brave New World, most of that team carried over. And so like I have a lot of the same gameplay programmers and engineers working for me on Civilization 6.
All right.
Okay, so now we're seeing at the very beginning of Civilization 6 game, the worker unit has been renamed. He's now a builder. And the reason that we did that is because he works differently. He has a charges. And so he just instantly can drop down improvements. It takes him a turn, and he finishes his turn, and you put down here we put down 2 farms. There's a rice farm and a regular farm.
That's a big difference.
But the cool thing is he does it instantly, so you can while you have to plan out your cities very, very carefully in Civilization 6 because every type of improvement or district has adjacency bonuses for what it's next to. And so it's very much a layout puzzle of trying to put everything right down next to the right things to get the best bonuses. And because of that, you want to be able to plan it out and then go ahead and move that builder there right away. And so what we have done is we made it so that they have charges. They can right away go ahead and get those improvements online immediately. Okay, now we have another settler unit. They're going to show moving him out and getting him to another settlement location. And the interesting thing about that is the technology tree, the research path that you have through the game is very different in Civilization 6 because it's the type of thing where we call it's active research, and every technology in the technology tree has a boost that you can achieve by doing something smart, by using your cities and your units out in the game world to go on like a little quest and get something done. And so we got a boost here because we settled this city on the coast, and that helped us learn about things like fishing and sailing and those kind of things.
Makes sense.
And now this is showing connecting your cities with trader units. And you notice the big difference here is that the trader is forming the road for you. You don't send your workers out to form roads, at least not in the early part of the game, because what happens is naturally, in terms of history, the trade routes developed with the roads. Sort of that's where the normal paths of transit back in the ancient world occurred, and so now that's the way the game works. If you want to build a road later in the game, we do have military engineers, and you can get those built and get that going. They just put down the first district. This is your holy site. This is your religious district. And notice that this now takes a whole tile outside the city, and that's where you put your shrine and your temple and your other buildings. So that's going to get us a religion started, and we'll be, a competitive civ in the religious part of the game. Now they're going to show you a wonder, and wonders also take up a whole tile outside the city. And we brought back the movies that they had from Civilization IV, so you can see the animation of your wonder building. But the very cool thing about it is it's right outside your city. This is not a pre-rendered movie. This is in the game world. You can see that your city is developing that wonder, and you can see sort of what it looks like with the mountains and the coast and everything right behind it. And then there are 12 different types of districts that can go around the city. So unlike the holy site, this is the encampment. So this is where your military gets going. And we'll see that the buildings that you used to have for military, like barracks and stable and military academy, they all go into that district. And then now they're going to show a little barbarian raid. The barbarians are tougher and more ferocious, and they have these a little bit more organization and thinking to them now.
Oh, they get smarter?
Yeah, so that's a little tougher, but in this case, the encampment has these well-trained pikemen. They take care of them pretty easily. But it shows you kind of what combat's going to look like. Combat is still very much like Civ 5, where it's 1 unit per tile, and it's a tactical puzzle between what I have in one tile and what you have in another tile. But we have made some changes. There is a little bit of stacking of units that can go on. You can stack 2 or 3 units of the same type. And we also have new support units that are allowed to stack with military units. So it's not quite as congested as we had on Civ 5, where like the whole map could get carpeted with units. And now it's much more, there's a better balance between spreading the units out on the map, but being able to stack them up a little bit. Okay, we're about to see our first leader in the game. We're going to settle one more city here. And actually, before the leader comes up, the cool thing that they're going to show you is we have a new time of day system so that our graphic engine can go through and they can show you daytime views, nighttime views, sunset views. You can play the game with it cycling through those views, or if you like to just have a nice clear view, you can have it. And here's our leader for the Americans, Teddy Roosevelt. Our leaders are sort of a little bit stylized art style. What we wanted to do is we wanted to pick people from different countries that were sort of very big, impressive personalities. Teddy Roosevelt is one of the, maybe not the most famous American president, but he was sort of probably the most interesting.
Is that so?
He would go out to the West. He would ride horses. He would, chase down buffalo, all those kind of things. So he was sort of the most interesting leader that we could come up with.
Oh, government. That looks different.
Yes, very different. This is sort of a combination of what was with Civ 4 and Civ 5. So you have a government like in Civ 4, but you can change it and put in social policies in like you could, like those individual social policies from Civilization 5. Okay. And this is a third type of district. This is the theater district for the arts. And we're going to put an amphitheater in there. And one of the arts district gets bonuses for being next to wonders. So we're going to put a wonder of the world right next to it. And this is the great library that we're building. You can see here's your theater district down below it. And this is in the game world right there with your city. You can see the other districts that you put. That's the science district up above, right next to the wonder. And the wonder movies cycle through the different times of day, so you can see, the torches come out to light and everything on your city.
Do you have to protect those wonders in combat?
You have to protect the districts, but the wonders we don't let you pillage. That would be.
All right.
There is, late in the game when you get nuclear weapons, even your wonders can be in trouble.
Wonders.
Yes.
Oh,
but for regular like combat units coming in, they can't pillage wonders.
All right. Which year do we have now here?
This is the industrial district.
Industrial.
So we're going to see the industrial age come here. You're going to see coal and oil and some of those other resources that come into play. And so we're getting to a point where this is sort of a 1900 city. Yeah, this is 20th century. And now we're going to see yet another leader. This is the Egyptians. And she's decided that she's going to declare war on us because we've cramped her in. She doesn't have much room. She's got to try to break out. So she's going to come over. We're going to see. This is you just asked about. You have to protect the districts. You'll see what happens. What it looks like when they get pillaged. So now we have our shrine and our temple. They're all smoking and ruined.
All right, I like that. Now all those tiles make much more sense.
Yeah, it's not like you have farms everywhere like you did in Civ 5. Now it's much more variety. You have to think about everything. You have to bring your army out from the city to protect certain things. But we have better technology than she does, so we're going to defeat her here with our tanks.
These are our tanks. All right, that's good.
Yes. Yeah, we're playing as China now. We're the green power. So now it's time for us to invade her homeland. So she had a fortification. She has a commercial district there to the east of her city. We've got airplanes. She doesn't.
Oh, I see where that's going.
Yes. So she's going to poison herself. She's decided she's done. She can't stand it anymore. And so we'll absorb the city into our empire now.
Okay, looks good for us.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well here. So we're going to rebuild everything. And so you can see the nighttime city. We've got add a few more wonders. There's Big Ben. We've got an airport up by the pyramids. That's another district. And finally, we're going to replace this area. We want to build the Eiffel Tower.
Another wonder?
Yep.
All right. So we see this is taking very many turns to complete?
Well, the animation, yes, it normally would take you, 12, 15, 20 turns to build a wonder. And so the movie that we show you kind of gives you that idea by doing the time lapse, kind of cycling through the time of day. So now you're seeing sort of at the end of the game, this is the spaceport. This is a special district that lets you build what you need to for the space race. And we're going to go ahead and launch the rocket. And so that's pretty much, that's how, again, we have 4 different types of victories, like all so you don't always win with space race. You can conquer the world. You can do everything else.
All right. So this is a video of the end if you won by space race?
Exactly.
All right. That's it. Civilization 6.
Yep.
I'm very excited.
Yes.
October 21st. That's not that much in the future.
Right. We're busy finishing everything up right now. So, balancing, testing, all those kind of things. It's very, very, very busy, but it's fun to be out here showing everyone what the new stuff looks like.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And I hope that the game will be good. I really hope. But you got a streak by making good games at Firaxis.
Yep.
You know how to do your job. But you definitely got some changes going on in Civilization 6. At first we saw this whole map, and you saw the whole landmass. It was not disguised by the fog of war. Is that a new thing, that you can see the whole landmass and plan where the coast is?
No, that's not. That's how the video was set up.
All right.
We thought it was maybe too confusing for the video to have completely fogged out.
Yeah.
So, but what is new is that we set it up so that the fog of war, the area that you have seen before but you can't see right now, looks like a hand-drawn map. So it looks like it's sort of one of those old-time parchment maps.
Okay.
With
Once
like a hand-drawn.
It's
Right.
much more beautiful.
Right.
All right, yeah, I can imagine that if you shown the whole thing as a black screen, that wouldn't be pretty.
What it looks like initially, it's just a sheet of parchment with no writing on it at all.
Okay.
And then when you uncover it, it's lit up and looks bright and beautiful. But if you like move those units away and that goes back into the fog, then to remember what was there, we do the hand-drawn. It looks like a hand-drawn map at that point.
The biggest change, I think, is the change of the engine. You programmed a completely new engine for the game.
Yep.
Can you explain me why you did that? Why was this necessary for Civilization VI? And what kind of improvements does it bring?
Well, it was sort of a risky decision because Civilization V was very successful and we had all sorts of systems in that game engine. But we knew that some of the code had been around since Civilization IV. We brought it into Civilization V. Just the way computer technology has advanced, databases, all this kind of things. There were so many different new tools and techniques that we could take advantage of by rewriting everything.
Yeah.
So we recoded everything. All the AI, all the gameplay systems were rewritten. The ones that we liked very much from Civilization V, some systems like religion and the trade system and those kind of things, we re-implemented them in a similar fashion to kind of still keep a lot of the good design elements that we had, but having it all in a new engine, we are using more threads than we were before, so that the computer load everything's faster. We set things up so that it's very, very friendly to modders, and then we could also make it very flexible in terms of adding new bonuses for civilizations that we want to add, for leaders that we want to add, that kind of stuff as well.
You just go with the time.
Yeah.
Everything's better now.
Everything it's taken some time to build it all back up, but we've been working on this for quite a while, so we've had the chance to do that by now.
Yeah, you told me you were working with the AI in the game explicitly. So what kind of changes have you made in Civilization VI with the AI? I guess it's getting smarter.
Well, the biggest change with the AI is with our diplomacy system, and that's that the leaders now, we wanted to add more personality. Like I was saying before, we chose Teddy Roosevelt to be leader of the Americans because we felt like he was a big, big personality. He was very interesting, quite a dynamic leader. And so what we have done is for each of the leaders, they have what we call an agenda, and that's something that they're going to care about in diplomacy. We picked it out from what they did in history, and so they're going to be sort of looking at what's going on in the game world and trying to decide whether they like you or don't like you based on this agenda. So Teddy Roosevelt, in history, he had what was called the big stick diplomacy policy, and that meant that he was going to have a really strong military. He wasn't going to use it unless you tried to mess with the Americas, and if you tried to set up shop and take over Venezuela or Cuba or something like that, he was going to get his big stick out and stop you. So that's what he does in this game, is all the area around him, he cares about those. Those city-states, those are his. If you're declaring war and trying to take them over, or he's going to get mad at that. If you stay away from him, he'll be happy with you. So Cleopatra, we saw her as well. She has an agenda where what she cares about is she likes to be friends with the really powerful, big, strong leaders. So if you have a really strong military, you think about Julius Caesar and Mark Antony that were her friends in history, she's going to be kind of very, very interested in protecting Egypt by making alliances with the strongest players in the game.
All right. So all those leaders of the factions got more character in general.
Yeah, so that's one big change to the AI. The other thing in terms of more how we set up the AI is we've also changed a lot of the technology there, and we've set up the AI to be very goal-driven. It's very smart about thinking through 2 or 3 moves ahead, so it kind of comes up with a plan for where it wants to be 30 turns from now, and it can follow that through. It might have 5 or 6 steps it needs to take, but it will go ahead and it will figure those out and make sure it executes that plan. And that's very important with the new system we showed you with the active research, where you can get boosts to your technology by doing things out in the world. If the AI didn't understand how to think through 2 or 3 things in a row, it wouldn't be using that system very well. But we've set it up so it's very knowledgeable about that. Very good.
How does that affect directly the diplomacy system or the diplomacy screen? Have there been any changes, or do we get the things we know from the previous Civ games?
No, there have been a lot. There was a panel. There was like a vertical panel right after Teddy Roosevelt came up where they showed a deal going through.
Yeah.
And on that first panel, there's a whole bunch of information you get about each leader. And it's sort of like an intelligence report on everything you know about that leader, all that information synthesized down and put on one screen for you. And the interesting thing about that is you get a little bit of information if you don't do anything. But we actually encourage you to go and meet that leader and go out and send traders and spies and diplomatic envoys out to that civilization. And the more time you spend kind of getting to know them, the better that intelligence report's going to be. So you'll have deeper and deeper understanding. It's basically what we call our gossip system. And so you get more and more gossip the more time you spend sending your people into their civilization.
Okay, that's interesting. If you like, you can put your headphones off because it's getting really loud right now behind of us, and we don't hear any more of the game. So you can put them off.
Take them off. Okay.
Yeah, they might be uncomfortable.
Okay.
For over the while. But let's talk about the graphics because, in my opinion, the whole game style, the whole graphic style, is taking a pause more to a comic look, more like the Civilization Revolution optics. Why did you make that decision? Because as far as I've seen in the internet, that was very controversial.
Yeah, and it was a very deliberate decision on our part. We knew that we wanted to unstack the cities right away with this game. We wanted to make the map more important. We wanted to make sure that there was going to be so much going on around the cities. Like we saw in the video, those cities at the end of the game, every tile had almost a different thing on it. And it looked, that was sort of a really good example of why I gave such a big challenge to our art team. I was like, I want to be able to see 12 different types of districts. We're still going to have 10 or 12 different types of improvements, but I want to be able to look at my map outside my city, and I want it to be clear to me what's going on there. And each of those districts is customized by building buildings, like the religious building district we saw, the shrine and the temple, and so to be able to look at the map and understand what's going on, we needed a very clear style. And so they thought about that problem, and they said, we need to use color more. We need to have the buildings sort of stand out from each other more. And they came up with, well, let's go with a little bit more of a stylized look. And that's going to make the gameplay a lot better. And it's also very interesting because like when we were attacking Egypt City in that video, you want to know what you're attacking as well. You want to be able to look at somebody else's cities, whether you're sending your army there or just a spy, and you want to be able to read very quickly what they have outside their city. So it's very important not only for your own cities, but basically all the way across the map to be able to understand what's in each of those tiles. Okay. And we feel like the art style did a great job of helping out gameplay there.
What about the multiplayer? I mean, Civilization is such a huge game. It's very difficult to play with friends, even just one.
Yeah.
And did you make some improvements? Is there something different? Maybe there's a hot seat back or something? Have you thought about sending turns per email like you did with CivNet many years ago or something? How about the improvements of the multiplayer?
The biggest improvement we've made with multiplayer is we've tried to make it so that it doesn't take 6 or 8 hours to play a game. So we're going to have shorter games. We're not giving all the details on this right now, but it's definitely through some setting up scenarios so that you can get into the action very quickly, that things are sped up a little bit, and that maybe you don't have to play through the whole game, in that one session, but we'll have a victory that's set up for just that shorter session. So
all right.
That's absolutely the kind of the key thing that we're going to do there. But we also, you mentioned hot seat and some of those other modes. We're definitely we're very aware of what all the different ways you've played multiplayer in the past. And, we're not going to announce the full set of support that we're going to have, but people are going to be happy with our support.
But I think if all those hardcore players which are stayed with Civilization from the beginning hear that it's taking this comic look approach, they see Civilization Revolution and they instantly think, oh no, it's going to be more casual. And if you say, oh, it's being a little more shorter, this will underline this. How do you take this fear away?
No problem at all. If you started to look in any kind of detail at all the different systems that we have going on, the fact that the city placement is so detailed right now, that you're taking everything used to stack up inside that one tile of the city, and you didn't have to think about where it was going. Now you have to think about where everything goes out around your city. There are a lot of things in terms of diplomacy and those kind of things that are deeper and richer. There's this whole system of gossip and finding information. We have like 5 different levels of information you can get about other civilizations. One other thing that we can tell you that we haven't, it's sort of new information that we're just getting out there right now this week is the bonuses that come with each individual nation or civilization. We had 3 different bonuses in Civilization V. We're actually moving that up. We have 4 different types of unique abilities with every civilization. So this whole new game engine that we've talked about has really enabled us to add lots and lots of details. So players are going to be really, really excited to see how much depth there is. I think that's already true for the information. When we announced the game about a month ago, we put out a lot of information. Everyone's really understanding that this game is no simplified version. This is very complex.
Okay.
And also in terms of multiplayer, even though we have those short sessions, if you really like to play the long full version, you can still do that.
All right.
And you don't have to
still
speed
get the
anything up.
options.
You can, those are all there. You can play the whole way through from the start of history to the space race at whatever pace you like. But what we want to do is we want to make it so that you don't have to take 6 hours, that we have a lot of good options for people who wanted something shorter.
Okay. Nowadays, if you make a game, Civilization's typical PC game, but you, as a game developer, always have to think to make the most money out of it, and you definitely have to think about bringing it to console. Civilization is one of the most difficult games to bring to console. You did it with Civilization Revolution, which was a totally different game, but Civilization VI looks to me like it might be possible to, with a couple of tweaks, bring to console. How was the thinking process? What were you thinking about when were you thinking how to bring it to console?
Well, we've announced it for PC right now, and that's all we're talking about right now. So, people have to stay tuned if they want to have any news about other platforms.
All right, I accept that. So can we have a little bit more details? I mean, you all got those little units and you got those special resources. Are there new things? You got some new things to discover on the map or some new events which happen?
Yeah, well, I haven't talked a lot about how the research works. I've mentioned it a couple times, but I haven't gone into any detail with it.
Yeah.
The big change there is it's not just a tech tree that you're moving through now. We've taken that tech tree and we've split it in half. And we have 2 trees now. We have the technology tree and we have what's called the civic tree.
All right.
And so science drives your technology tree and culture drives your civics tree. And the civics tree is set up the same way where it has the different nodes that you move through. Every single civic that you can unlock also has a boost. So that whole active research system that I was describing there also is in play for civics. And there are a lot of very interesting combinations where some things, like we saw the Great Library being built in that video. And the Great Library, in my mind, okay, it's where they collected all the science of the ancient world.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a scientific thing that allowed them to create that. That was sort of a cultural thing. They decided we want to collect all the information and we're going to go out and grab it and bring it back to Alexandria. So the ability to create the Great Library in Civilization VI unlocks from the civics tree, from culture unlocks that. And then once you've unlocked that, it's going to help you with the science. But it's kind of a big change that everyone and all of our fans used to always say science is king in Civilization. That as long as you were good in science, you were fine. You'd be okay. That's not true anymore because now you have to balance between culture and science.
That sounds like a big difference. in my experience, when I play Civilization and all those huge, big 4X games, there's always this point, like in the middle of the game when you play your hours, when you're hours in the game, it gets a little bit dull because some things repeat. Do you have made any improvements, or have you thought about that? Is there some things that, yeah, make it different, not to do all over the same things always again?
Well, I'd say there are two things we've done with that. First of all, I think we made a lot of ground up with Civ 5's expansions. With Brave New World, for instance, a lot of the content for Brave New World didn't come into play until the second half of the game.
Yeah.
So we had ideological governments, we had archaeology, espionage, those kind of things. They all came into the game late. And we've kept all those things. Those are all still coming over, and they're going to be there in Civ 6 right from the beginning. You don't have to wait for an expansion pack for them.
Okay.
The other thing is that because of the tile placement game around the cities, you could see in that video at the end of the game, you're trying to figure out where to put your spaceport, and you have to knock something else out because everything is already taken up with things. We actually have some things that are going to help you with culture and tourism late in the game, or the spaceport that helped you with science, and you're going to have to like re-engineer where everything goes around your cities, move some things out, put some things in. So that's going to keep it, you're always going to be thinking about where am I going to fit this and those kind of things late in the game. So it has some new challenges for people.
And what about the end game? I was once talking to Sid Meier, and he told me that he wasn't very excited about the technologies in the end. When you got nothing left and you only got future technology 1, future technology 2. Have you improved that? Is it going more into the future?
That's something that we have 2 trees now. So you actually, there's both future technology and future civics. We're not really talking about what those do for you, but I agree with him that that's definitely something that wasn't very exciting. I think in Civilization 5, all it did was help your score a little bit.
Yeah.
So we've looked at that to try to make that at least a little bit more interesting.
All right. Thank you very much for being here with us, showing Civilization 6.
Yep.
I'm very excited for the game. It's coming in October, I guess.
Yes.
21st, is that right?
Yes.
And maybe for console, we don't know yet, maybe with some improvements. You got the Steam controller now in your side, so you can maybe
play on your
couch,
yes.
which is a big improvement.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
And I wish you very, very, very much luck with the game, and that you make very many Civilization games in the future.
We know that the German audience is very important to us. They've been such good fans of Civilization for all the years, so I'm really excited. It's my first interview of all of E3 this year.
Yeah.
And we're doing it live with Germany. That's super exciting.
So what's on your schedule for this whole week? You got many interviews or some exciting things as well?
Yeah, no, it's all interviews and
all day.
That's okay.
From morning to evening.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So you got your own booth with Civilization as well. How does it look like?
Right. We've got this big screen TV across the way. We're showing the intro trailer. Sean Bean is our narrator, so we're really excited about it. I love
Sean Bean.
Yes. He's the narrator for the trailer. So Boromir or Eddard Stark, if you're a fan of Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, we've got you covered.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we're done right now.
Okay.
And as I said, I wish you big luck. We'll have many different interviews here. And now I think I switched to German.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
All right.
Danke, Leute. Das war's hier von der E3 erstmal mit Civilization 6 und dem Lead-Designer von Firaxis. Ich würde jetzt Schluss machen, Max, wenn es okay ist, aber ihr sollt auf jeden Fall dranbleiben. Hier gibt es noch einiges. Das ist gerade nur der Anfang von der E3. Wir wissen selber noch nicht, was hier alles passiert und sind super aufgeregt und gucken mal, wo es uns so hinträgt.